Hello and welcome to this sketchbook tour. If you're new here, my name is Lois. I'm an illustrator, animator and comic artist based out here in lovely London, and today I'm going to be giving you a tour of this sketchbook I just finished. So as usual, I'm working in one of these sketchbooks. This is a really slim sketchbook. It's only 32 pages. I really like using short sketchbooks. I find I get more momentum to finish them this way. I don't get too precious about them, which I really like. It's also an extremely affordable sketchbook. I think this cost me like €3. I'm also a fan of using really affordable art materials. I definitely don't think you need, fancy stuff to create good art. Yeah, I love this book. It is from a company called Kunst und Papier, a German company, and I bought this book in Germany where I used to live. I think I mentioned this shop in every one of my videos, but it's from Modular. If you're an artist in Berlin, you know exactly what I mean. It is a heaven of sorts for artists. If ever you're in Berlin, I highly recommend you check it out. You will be completely overwhelmed by everything they have in the best way. And yeah, I love these books, so whenever I go back to Berlin, I try and buy like as many of them as possible because, as I said, they're really affordable. I think the paper quality is great. I'm not sure the exact weight, but it can really take paint without bleeding too much, which is, a massive plus. So all in all, an absolute bargain, and yeah, I love it. So this has been my winter book. I set myself the goal this year of completing 4 of these sketchbooks, and the idea was loosely that I would film 1 per season, and so far so good. It's a bit of an ambitious goal, but we're on track so far, so yeah, let's see how we go. I did have a bit of a head start with this sketchbook because a few of the spreads in here I completed last December, and I even think maybe 1 or 2 like in the summer last year, so I gave myself a bit of a head start, but I think that's okay. Alright, let's take a look. So this is the first page, and you'll see here I refer to this as my winter sketchbook, and that's because I mostly completed this book from January until March 2025. I did have a bit of a head start with this sketchbook because I had a few spreads in here already complete from last year. Not much, but a bit. And yeah, if you're new to my sketchbook tours, then you can expect a lot of animals. If you're not new, then this first page is probably looking very on brand for me. Here I stuck in just a little swatch I did to test out some coloured pencils. I bought some coloured pencils for the first time in about 10 years recently because I really want to try and use more colour in my sketchbook work. And this was just like a little test I did with the pencils. I don't really like drawing on loose bits of paper because then I get stressed out about where to put them, so I just stuck this into my book, and yeah, it's quite cute. And on this page, just a few classic animals: dog, fox, wolf. I don't know what this is, I think it's a giraffe. So this is one of my monochrome pages. I have a few pages like this in the book. I really like using just black sometimes when I'm doing a sketchbook spread because it really forces me to think about, where I'm putting shadow, where I'm putting highlight, where I'm using line, and I really like that just as a drawing exercise. I love how it looks. I have a design background, so I do really like quite like graphical illustration. Definitely love this kind of style. Oops. Cool, so these are actually fairly recent ones. I just stuck them in the front of this book because I had a bit of room. And yeah, these are based off animals that I saw in the Natural History Museum in Berlin. And yeah, we have an owl here. I think it's I can't remember what kind of owl. It's a small one. It's not a big owl. And then some kind of cow, ox, animal here. I should really check what I'm drawing. I love these drawings. I feel like they really, for me, hit a really nice mark between realism, but not like fully realism. Like there's a bit of stylization going on there. I love using pencil. It's probably my favourite tool ever. I find it so relaxing to draw with. I love the depth and the softness you can achieve, and yeah, I had a really fun time drawing these. And a funny thing about these is I drew them both quite absent-mindedly. This owl I drew while I was on a phone call with somebody, and I was kind of doodling in the background, and then he just kind of came out of it. And this one I drew actually while I was at the pub with my friends doing a pub quiz, which we actually won. And I had a picture of this cow on my phone from my trip, and yeah, I just decided to draw him. And I don't know if it's because my brain was half on something else, but I just got so into this drawing. And I don't know guys, sometimes I feel like I draw so much better when my brain is half occupied with something else. I don't know if there's any actual merit to this. I would love to hear what you think, because I find it, yeah, super interesting. Next we have another monochrome style page, just a few more animals and plants. I think I got really into drawing like little mushrooms with faces in the sketchbook. I really like this mouse with the strawberry, it's like super cute. Alright, so these are Arctic terns. I don't love this page, but it's okay. I find drawing birds like weirdly difficult. I feel like they're like deceptively hard to draw and I think in a way that makes them slightly less forgiving than more kind of complicated shaped animals. I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway. So I saw some Arctic terns in another natural history museum, this time in Brighton, in my hometown, and yeah, I decided to draw them. These are birds I drew from my reference in the museum, and these are just ones I drew from some online reference afterwards. Yeah, I think I tried to create like almost like a sunrise, sunset feeling here. I don't know if it works or not, but I quite like the colours. I mean, it's okay. Here we have some sharks. I don't really draw marine animals too much. I would love to more. I had a lot of fun drawing these sharks. These are blacktip reef sharks. They're very, very beautiful sharks. Drew some coral. I think we have a clownfish there as well. I don't like this page, if I'm honest. You know, I said this in my last sketchbook tour, but I think no matter what, every artist just has that page in their sketchbook they just don't really like. And I think that's okay. Every page can't be, you know, perfect, and I think that's better. But I will talk you through it nevertheless. On the left here is a horse I drew. I actually loved the sketch of this, and as soon as I added some colour to it, I was like, oh my god, I hate it. And that's okay. These are actually lyrics from a Yola Tango song. Yola Tango are maybe my all-time favourite band, so I think I must have been listening to one of their songs at the time I drew this, and yeah, just doodled those on too. On the right we have some sketches of my cat, Nell, who features very heavily towards the end of this sketchbook, which you'll see. Yeah, I have a lot of fun drawing all her like silly little moods and expression. She's a very expressive cat. She's quite a nervy cat, which is really, really fun to draw. Yeah, I love her silly face. Okay. We have another monochrome spread. I did most of these when I was in a cafe just sketching with one of my friends. A lot of the pages in this book I created on the go, or when I was out with other creative friends and we were sketching or working together, and I do think that's like a huge part of the trick when it comes to completing a sketchbook, is to kind of sketch on the go as much as possible, or sketch with friends, or, you know, plan your outings around sketching if you want. I don't know, I don't have too much time just to draw when I'm at home, so I don't know, I like to incorporate both. I think it makes nice, memorable sketching sessions, and yeah, it's nice because when I look at these pages I'm reminded of the time I spent with my friends, which is really nice. And yeah, just animals again. I really was having like a little mushroom moment in this sketchbook. Oh my goodness, my cat. And yeah, I'm really happy with how this page turned out. Here we have some more animals. On the left side are some possums. These were Australian possums. I was really inspired to draw them because I spent a bit of time in Australia last year and I am not over all the amazing wildlife and animals they have out there. So these were some Aussie possums I loved drawing, especially this one. I don't know, they're so cute. I love possums. And on the right are some more sketches I made when I was in the Natural History Museum Berlin. And yeah, they mostly have birds in that museum. It's a small natural history museum, but I really love it. If you do ever find yourself in Brighton, I really recommend it. It's a really lovely little museum, especially for sketching. This is supposedly a harvest mouse, but it doesn't really look like one. I wonder if I maybe mixed up the label. It looks more like some kind of, I don't know, like a vole or something to me. I'm not sure. Anyway, he's chilling, he's cool. And then we have a few more birds here. Kingfisher, another tern. So this is another page I created when I was out sketching with one of my friends. I was with my friend Katie and we went to a place in South London called I think it's called the Tea House Theatre in Vauxhall. And it's a super cozy cafe, tea house, creative space. Very cozy. They have 2 cats and yeah, I love going there to draw. And I sketched out this one there and then I put a bit of paint on it when I got home. If you're wondering, almost exclusively I paint with gouache. That's just my favorite paint to use. I find it's really versatile because you can use it without water and it's really like beautifully matte and thick. But you can also water it down and then it kind of takes on a bit more of like a watercolor like consistency, and yeah, I love it. I can't imagine I'll stop using gouache anytime soon. It's my favorite to use. This might be my favorite spread in the sketchbook. I had so much fun drawing these mushrooms. I tried to sort of study a mushroom more on this page. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's a fly agaric. And just consider, you know, the different shades on like on the stalk and, you know, the variations of spots and all of that. And I really enjoyed drawing that. And yeah, these ones over here as well. And then of course I had to add an animal to this spread, so I drew this little rat in a mushroom hat. Yeah, I love combining animals with mushrooms and making all these like shroomy creatures, and this was like no exception. I absolutely loved drawing this mushroom rat. I think he's so cute. Okay. The sketches on the left here are ones I made when I was flying home from Germany. I'm not like a hugely fan of this page, and I think it's because I was using a pencil that was really soft, and I don't know if the camera's picking this up, but it's kind of muddy where it's smudged. I feel like I love like clean, crisp lines, and the smudginess of this page is just sort of bothering me a bit, but it's okay. And this is another little like gouache painting I did. I really like this one. I think I just wanted to experiment making something like more graphical, and yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'd love to do more of this kind of thing soon. These are animals I sketched in the Natural History Museum Berlin this time. We spent a lot of time in natural history museums this winter, and these were a few of the animals I really liked and wanted to draw. As an anteater, anteaters are one of my favourite animals ever, so he was super fun to draw. Some kind of big cat, some kind of leopard, goodness, some kind of ferret guy, lizard, rat. And then on the right here, they had this absolutely beautiful borzoi dog. Yeah, it was just so lovely and furry and beautiful. I really wanted to draw him, so yeah, I did. And I had a lot of fun with all the fur and working the textures in. And also, yeah, just using coloured pencil for the first time in, you know, a really long time for me. And that was really enjoyable. I think I tend to get very habitual with my art tools, and once I find something I like, sometimes I find it hard to try with other tools, but I'm really glad I've picked up coloured pencils again. I'm finding them really enjoyable to draw with. So this is yeah, another one of my favourite spreads in the book. It's just a snake in some greenery, I guess. I wasn't really using any reference for this. I was just doodling in a cafe and I knew I wanted to create like a full spread. I knew I wanted to try and use lots of different greens, and I'm not sure why I chose the snake. I think it's because there was a lot of Year of the Snake stuff going around at the time, and I guess I just had snakes on the brain. And yeah, I like this one a lot. I'd love to do more of this another time. It was really enjoyable. Cool, so we're getting to the end of the book now, and I think the rest of the book is just my cat, or cats of various sorts. Yeah, look guys, I just love drawing my cat. I find her so like funny and interesting and silly. So yeah, I get a lot of inspiration from her. As I said, I really like her little expressions and moods and enjoy drawing that so much. I also drew my friend's cat, Lola, here. She's a ragdoll and she's just ridiculously cute. Yeah, I snuck her in too. And I think this is the last double spread. More cats, more of my cat. Can't really talk about my cat for that long. I don't even have that much to say, but here she is in some of her classic poses. We have the loaf, the stretch, the tiny ball, and yeah. And then my final page in this book is this one and these foxes. I love foxes. Another animal I seem to like never to tire of drawing. I had a lot of fun drawing foxes, like quite stylized. I think I've drawn foxes so much now that I quite enjoy playing around with stylization when it comes to them, like making their snoots really long. And yeah, that's all. This is my end page. This is a sticker from Leigh Ellickson, who I'm sure are aware of. If not, her work is beautiful and really, really inspirational for me when it comes to keeping a sketchbook practice. And then we have this Meowdy cat is what I call him. He's one of my stickers, and yeah, he's just hanging. He's available in my shop if you're interested. Alright, that's all. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, I have another sketchbook tour on my channel and more on the way. If you want to support my art in other ways, you can check out my Etsy shop below, my Patreon, or if you just want to see more artwork, I also have a very active Instagram page where I post my weekly webcomic, Small Horse and Dog also. Alright, thank you so much and see you next time. Bye!